Hello everyone, I'm Professor Geek. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the review of the Godzilla King Kong Legendary Universe tie-in comics. I've been talking about these for a little while on live streams. Actually, just got off of a long live stream, so my voice is a little edgy. Apologize for that. But I've been talking about these for a while. A lot of people don't know about these. This is in the Legendary Kong Godzilla universe. It's right now in theaters. So, of course, we know it started with Godzilla 2014, and then on into Kong Skull Island, and now currently out in theaters, Godzilla King of Monsters. And that's all building up to 2020's Godzilla vs. Kong. So very much looking forward to that. I've enjoyed all of these films greatly. I've talked about them all at length on live streams. We did rewatches of Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island. And Kong is really my main interest. I really love Kong stories, and but Godzilla movies have given me appreciation for him as well. So I found out about these comic books. These are 3 graphic novels. I think they were originally released in issue by issue, but they've all been collected by now. And at first I thought they could go either way, right? I knew I wanted to read them because I was interested in the universe, and anything that, especially with Marvel's cinematic universe going down the toilet now, I've there's another shared cinematic universe out there that could be done well with tie-ins on different mediums. I wanted to check it out. But, sometimes these kind of quote-unquote tie-ins can be little more than graphic novelizations, or, a little more than just kind of cash grabs and really kind of cheap in terms of the story. I'm happy to report that's not the case for any of these 3. These are solid, fun stories. If you enjoy the movies, if you like that lore, then you definitely want to check these out. So let's start with Godzilla Awakening. This is the official prequel to the Godzilla 2014 film. Now, all of these are called prequels to each movie, but I recommend, you could read this before. But I recommend, having watched Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island before actually reading these 2. But let's get to it. So this is the story. Of course, in Godzilla 2014, we were introduced to Dr. Serizawa, who was, Ken Watanabe, who is the connected character between that one and King of Monsters. This is the story of Dr. Serizawa's father. And this is it starts out with a young Serizawa coming back to talk to his father. And remember, in the movie, is the big deal, his father gave him the watch that stopped when the bomb went off in Hiroshima and all of that. So you got the story now of his father. And of his father, when the bomb went off, when he had the watch, and he ran back and saw that his son was still alive. And then immediately, and I won't spoil the whole thing, I'm just going to give you the gist. But his father, Dr. Serizawa's father, comes in contact with a Muto. And it was a Muto by the name of Shinomara, is what they call it. I don't know. I'm not a Godzilla aficionado at all. In fact, I've never watched a Godzilla movie all the way through until 2014. So I'm not speaking about these in any way with any kind of authority on Godzilla, the lore. I'm just talking about them as well-done stories and judging them by that. But Shinomara, I don't know if that's a character, if that's a creature from any of the old films or not, but it's a parasite-like creature, a bat-like parasite. It can divide, it can grow, and all of that. So this is the story of Dr. Serizawa's father, Dr. Serizawa Sr. here, joining Monarch and going to search for the parasite bat creature, but also just the Godzilla himself, finding out about Gojira and that people have, always been seeing the sightings. So Dr. Serizawa's father is the one who's arguing for the presence of Godzilla, and the first one to argue that he might be the creature out there trying to protect us and the best way to deal with these monsters. And so that's a really cool story, and that, of course, is where Dr. Serizawa himself gets all of that from, and that's the knowledge that he's speaking from, when the first time we see him in Godzilla 2014. So that's well done. And this is by, the story in this one was Max and, what's the guys? The Bornsteins, Max and Greg Bornstein, or Steen, I don't know. Different people doing the pencils there and everything, but great cover by Arthur Adams. Really cool cover there. And the art's fine, especially like that really cool shot there of the Godzilla following the submarine. Really cool. So yeah, that's about the art style inside. Not my greatest, not my choice of art style, but it's fine. It's passable. It does very well. So good, solid story in a good additional piece of the mythos. Hearing Dr. Serizawa Sr.'s story about following Godzilla and how he eventually takes out the parasite and whatnot. It's just an addition to the lore. It deepens it for you. It gives you a better appreciation for Dr. Serizawa and his story throughout the movies and everything. So good, solid Godzilla the Awakening. Definitely recommend. This is my favorite of them all because I'm a big Kong fan primarily, but this is just, man, it's a great story. So this one, it's called an official prequel to the movie, but it's really not a prequel, actually. In fact, it starts out in 2012. So this is Dr. Houston Brooks, who was the young scientist in Kong Skull Island, the film. It was him and the young black guy and the Asian girl, who were the two recent college graduates that were there as a part of Monarch. They were recently recruited. He was the one who had the Hollow Earth theory. So he was a young guy then in the 70s, but now he's older. He was actually in Godzilla King of Monsters too. A lot of people don't know, but they were the ones set up to monitor Mothra's cocoon underneath the waterfall. That was Houston Brooks and then Dr. Ling. So that was those two characters, different actors obviously because they're supposed to have aged quite a bit, but those were those two characters from Kong Skull Island. So the premise here is that Dr. Houston Brooks has had a son, and his son is in the military. I think he eventually joins Monarch, but his son was always obsessed with this story of Skull Island and didn't believe his father that Kong is the one to protect it. And he always thought we should go there and send the military and so forth to really see or whatever. So his son has gone missing since the 90s. And this is just the premise. I'm not spoiling the story for you. I'm just giving you the premise that you find out in the first page or two. His son has been missing since the 90s, 96-ish. And something washes up on shore at someplace random in the world. It's in a sealable, like an airtight Monarch bag or whatever, or box. And it ends up being a recording from his son, addressed to his father, and only his father knows the password that his son would have used or whatever. And it's the record. It's his son's record of a trip that he took. It was the Monarch was supposed to send them on some different mission, but he convinced his crew to go look at Skull Island instead. So they were supposed to be going to Skull Island to really see if Kong could really handle, the threats, and if, they didn't need a real military kind of idea. So a little bit kind of, this takes place in 96, so it's obviously taking place after the events of Kong Skull Island, which is set in the 70s. But throughout this story, through the adventure that they have, you receive Kong's origin story. So that's why they call it a prequel. You receive the birth of Kong, the literal birth of Kong, and what's happened with the island there, what's happened with Skull Island, and when the Skull Crawlers originally came, there used to be a whole tribe of the Kong primates there. Really kind of epic stuff. And I'm not giving you any of the spoilers. I can just tell you this, though. This story, I've always loved Kong because there's a lot more pathos in Kong. He's a primate. He's a little bit more able to emote and everything like that to a human audience and whatnot. And I've always liked that story. And even Kong Skull Island did it so well. This, though, giving him this backstory, whoa. I mean, Kong is like an absolute hero on a hero's journey. I mean, the backstory they give him specifically, he's an orphan from Kong Skull Island. His parents eventually die, but how all of that happens and it's just, this book, again, I don't want to spoil it for you because I want to make sure you check it out. But this book, it's so gorgeous. Look at that. This book establishes that Kong is a protector of humanity. He's a respecter of life and a protector of humanity, specifically. Not just a mindless monster out there protecting his territory or, sort of pissing around his domain or something. No, he is actually a godlike character in that primal sense. And that's what really makes me appreciate Kong. I got a better sense of that with Godzilla in the King of Monsters film. And I really love the King of Monsters film, but that's just why I love Kong. If you read this, Kong is just, wow. I can't wait for another Kong movie. I'm kind of pissed that they've given Godzilla 2 of just his movies before the Clash. I feel like Kong should have at least had one more, but, whatever. I am hoping, of course, I want them to team up and, work together, but I know they are going to clash, and there is going to be a definitive winner at some point of that clash before, of course, they go on and team up, I'm sure. But I'm really hoping it's Kong because I love Kong, but I don't know. If the movie universe has already given Godzilla 2 movies, they might be kind of showing their preference, so I don't know. We'll see. Godzilla King of Monsters was epic. I love the movie. It did give me a greater appreciation for Godzilla himself, especially his status as an ancient god. I'm not going to spoil anything in Godzilla King of Monsters, the movie, for you. It's only opening weekend, and a lot of people haven't had a chance to see it. But I can tell you about this prequel to King of Monsters. It's called Godzilla Aftershock, and I definitely recommend you check this out. In this, I read this before I saw the movie, and it works. It really does work. In the movie, you're going to be introduced to some characters that they're not. In the movie, there's a quote from a girl who works there. I think her grandmother. She quotes her grandmother, who'd also worked for Monarch, and it says, "Myth is our compass." And that is a big part of the movie, and this is what this graphic novel establishes. They're after, apparently, the big baddie, and this takes place right after San Francisco, so right after 2014. And there's a Muto Prime, like a prime super species of Muto, that is apparently what the Mutos of Godzilla 2014 would have eventually morphed into or cocooned into after mating or something like that. But it's a real solid super threat against Godzilla. I mean, like almost Ghidorah levels of threat. Not quite, obviously, but really good stuff. So this is a solid story, and it tells the story of all of the repeated conflicts they've had throughout history and mythology and whatnot. So it's really done quite well. You're introduced to Alan, what was his name? Alan Jonah, the environmental terrorist that's in King of Monsters. Sarazawa's in here as well. What's her name? Vivian there. And then, of course, what's her name? Emma, whatever her name is, one of the main characters there in Kill All Monsters. King of Monsters. So you're introduced to these characters. I don't want to give away the story or anything like that, but she knows Alan Jonah. That's something that is in King of Monsters that they really don't explain much, or they don't really go into, but this book tells how they met. It really kind of fleshes out the story a bit. And that's not a spoiler for you. That's just something to show you how this book really does kind of fill that out for you. But you got some great art, gorgeous Godzilla art. The artist's name is just Zid. Is it the right one? No. Let me see. Oh no, that was that was Kong Skull Island's artist, which was really great. I love that art. I don't think I showed you much of that, but the facial expressions and everything, and how they really that was great art. This is a different artist, obviously, different writers, and the Godzilla Aftershock, but good stuff. Good solid story. Good solid graphic novel. I definitely recommend you check it out. It will help you make Godzilla King of Monsters make a bit more sense, and it's just fun. If you like the movies, if you like spending time in that universe, these are solid stories that are worth your time. They're not just cash grabs. They're not just quick little tie-ins to get some people to spend a little bit more money because it has the same name on it. I mean, these are solid MonsterVerse, Legendary Presents comics. So I do recommend all of these. Godzilla Awakening, Skull Island, The Birth of Kong, my favorite. So good, so good. And then Godzilla Aftershock was really quite good as well. So recommend these. A lot of people didn't know about them. I thought it was worth going ahead and doing a review, doing a whole video so people can find out about them and check them out on their own. And of course, we have Godzilla vs. Kong to look forward to. I'm excited about that. I am going to try and go see King of Monsters again in the theater because it's just so epic. And I will release I want to take the time to do an actual analysis of Godzilla King of Monsters. And go through, and that'll be spoiler filled, but I really want to do an analysis because each of these films, they all take place in the same universe, so they deal with some similar themes, but they've all dealt with some really cool specific themes that go deeper than just what's on the surface. So I've really been a fan of each of these movies. I think they're each well done pieces of art. So I wanted to do a video about that at some point here in the next day or two. So look for that. Look for more of the usual live streams and everything. Again, please check out Tales from the Stacks, my own graphic novel, currently in demand on Indiegogo. And until next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the hero stories you love. Thanks for watching.